Hi, this is Kitty Boitnott of Teachers in Transition, the YouTube channel and the podcast, and welcome back to episode 51. If you listen to my podcast, you know that one week I talk about stress management strategies, the next week I talk about career transition and job search. Today's topic is career transition. And the question that may be top of mind is, what do you do as a job seeker, someone who's looking for a new job or a career change, while we go through this restricting time caused by the COVID-19 or the novel coronavirus that's going around? And how do we respond in light of all of the changes that are being made around us over which we have absolutely no control? So what I want to say to you is that you may need to look at this as a planning time as opposed to an action time. I don't want you to suspend your efforts, especially if you are already actively looking for work. I want you to continue to scope out job openings. I want you to continue to tweak your resume, continue to learn how to write a compelling cover letter, continue to tweak your LinkedIn profile, continue to connect with people on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. You can't get together with them in person, but thankfully we live in a world where you don't have to be able to meet someone in person in order to communicate with them. You can send them a video message. You can create your own podcast if you like. You can send a blog post. You can initiate a correspondence. There are multiple ways for us to stay connected with one another and network virtually with one another. And I guarantee that the longer this sort of drawing down, being socially responsible, the longer this goes on, the more creative people are going to get about how they connect with one another. I just guarantee that somebody will come up with something. Watch parties, Facebook Lives, LinkedIn Live, you name it. There's going to be all kinds of things going on. And one of the things that occurred to me to think this morning was, now that if you are one of the people who've been told to stay home and your job is on hold for now, like teachers, you don't know when you might be going back. You're encouraged not to treat it like a snow day because nobody wants you to be going out to the store to shop or to the movies for entertainment or to Chuck E. Cheese or any of the places that you might normally try to go on a snow day. This is a stay-at-home time. This is let's just figure out ways to entertain ourselves at home. And you can do lots of things for yourself at home. And I was thinking in particular, you don't have the commute to deal with. For some people, that's an extra hour or two in their day. You can get up at the same time, and instead of commuting, you can use that time for researching a job you think you might be interested in, or researching a company you think you might like to work for when things get back to normal, or an industry. If you can look for ways to offer solutions to problems that are going to erupt because of this particular incident in our history, if you can come through this process with a solution to a problem that has presented itself as the result of this slowdown, this pandemic, you will be considered gold. So study the industry, anticipate what kinds of strategies they may need to follow in order to get back up and running quicker than they would otherwise. Think of ways that you might be able to offer solutions to other and unanticipated problems that they may run into. And then when the time is right, you will be able to present yourself as a problem solver, someone with a solution to a challenge that they haven't yet figured out. So this is a time for you not to completely give up on your job search, because then it'll be that much harder to get it geared back up as you get ready to start it all over again. So just keep up the momentum. Keep at it. I'm not saying keep at it 8 hours a day, you'll get burnt out with it, but use the hour or two that you would be commuting to work on a plan for when this is finally over. What kind of work is it that you want to be looking to plug yourself into? This is also a time when you could be doing some training. For example, if you need to improve your office skills. I've had clients who were teachers who would say, "Oh, I'd love just to be an office manager," but they don't have any skills for being an office manager. Take some courses. Udemy, UDEMY, is a great place to go for some inexpensive but high quality courses that you could take to get your skills up to speed. There are plenty of other online courses that you can take as well for not a whole lot of money. So you can be using this as a planning time. And don't consider it wasted time. Consider it time for educating yourself, for becoming more ready for the job that you want when all of this craziness passes, because it will pass. We're being asked to be socially responsible right now so that it will pass sooner rather than later, and that it will pass with fewer fatalities than it would otherwise. People who say this is just like the flu, I'm sorry, you're wrong. People who've had it in other countries, who've had a chance to recover from it or to share their experience of it, will tell you it's worse than any flu. It's not just the flu. And you can be carrying it around for up to 14 days before you start to feel the symptoms. So you may be carrying it to your grandmother when you go to visit her, or to your parents who are over 60 when you sit down with them for a visit. So if you feel inconvenience during this time because you're being asked to self-isolate, if you're worried about being bored because you have nowhere else to go, find things, make things to do to keep yourself entertained. Creating your job search plan, your marketing plan, that might be one activity you could take up to use some of this time for. And then otherwise, read some books that you've been putting off reading for all this time, however long, because you didn't have time to do it. Watch a movie that you never got around to seeing at the theater, and now it's on streaming live for free somewhere. Make good use of your time. And don't let yourself give in to feelings of resentment that you aren't being allowed to do things that you would otherwise be doing, or that this has interfered with your job search plan. Think about the people who've gotten sick and died. That really interfered with their lives in a major way, didn't it? Think of the people that have been left behind because a loved one came down with it and died. The deaths from this coronavirus are already into the hundreds, and the experts are saying it could go into the thousands. Some are even estimating more than 1 million. This is not playtime. This is not a time to underestimate or try to outguess what the experts are telling us to do. The socially responsible thing to do is to stay at home. What I'm suggesting is that you make good use of that time at home by continuing to plan for your dream job. Just know that the actual signing of the contract for that dream job may be delayed a little while. And that just means it's going to take longer than you thought. But as long as you're healthy, as long as you're well, as long as you're being socially responsible so that you're doing your part to keep other people well, this is a time when you could use it as a gift of time to do things that you didn't have time to do before. Does it delay your job search? Yes. In the grand scheme of things, that's a minor inconvenience. So, make use of this time. Make good use of this time. Don't give up. Just be realistic. This too shall pass eventually, and you'll be able to get things back on track again. Our country has been through lots of bad things before, world wars, not just recessions, but a great recession, a depression even. We'll make it through, but we've got to work together. And we've got to realize that there's some things that are just beyond our control. Right now, what's going on in the world is outside of our personal control. The only thing we can control is following the rules, paying attention to the guidelines, staying home to the extent that you can. If you are a first responder, thank you for your service. If you're a nurse, a doctor who has to go into work, you just happen to be listening to this podcast or YouTube channel for some reason, thank you for your sacrifices. But the rest of us need to stay home and stay out of their way so that they can do their work. That's it for today. I'll be back next week. Have a good week.